All right, welcome back, y'all. Y'all had Not a Safe Space, episode 2. And today we actually gonna get into our first topic, which is gonna be about decolonizing faith and talking about Christianity's hold on the black community, and how and why we think the black church is really not serving us as a people and just black liberation in general. It's your boy Carlton.
I'm Lisa, and I know we just lost half our audience.
Them niggas said, gotta go. Pretty much. Yeah, so it's gonna be a long one. We may have to break this one up in 2 parts because a lot has been said. And I know you niggas got shorter attention spans, so but just a little life update on what's been going on with us. Really not a lot. We've just been figuring out where we're gonna move to, which I think we finally decided. I ain't gonna tell y'all where, cause mind your business.
Mind your business. I'm not that.
Yeah, but we're not going to Beyonce anymore, so sad about that. But then I'm not because fuck capitalism.
Yeah, she part of the problem too, really.
She is, even though I do love my girl Beyonce,
I love
but
a lot of people. Part of the problem.
she is part of the problem, unfortunately.
Sorrow.
But what's been going on with you, Lisa?
What has been going on with me? About the same. Figured out where we're gonna be. Been doing a lot of research these days and planning
Research for what?
my master's degree.
Oh,
My master's degree. Yeah, I'm going to school for my master's in artificial intelligence. So, you control this AI. I need to make sure they ain't getting out of hand and take over.
It's already getting out of hand.
It's been out of hand. But yeah, I've been focused on that. As far as I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I've been looking at other business ventures that I want to do. Getting into that, love that for me. But yeah, that's been the gist of what I had got going on. I also bought a new laptop because I needed one. Asus gaming laptop.
My girl, she about to get on Twitch. Stop playing with her.
Stop playing. But also very glad that we created this environment, and as we keep going, I just like for us to remember that I'm not trying to be mainstream. I don't give a damn who like me and who don't. I don't want to be liked by nobody because every time some shit go mainstream with the black community, motherfuckers get to stealing the shit. They get to stealing it, and then it's no longer for black people. I want this to stay about black people for black people. So I don't give a fuck who don't like it.
Yeah, letting y'all know. But don't be telling your little white friends about this podcast. As the nigga who got a lot of white friends.
Don't all your white friends got our podcast? They all watched it. Tell your white friends, but tell
not all. Shout out to our first 9 listeners.
Progress.
Hey,
and we staying consistent.
Your boy got fans out here.
I ain't got no fans.
But yeah, so we got a long journey ahead, so we may just go ahead and jump straight into it.
Yeah.
So y'all buckle up. Let's see what we got to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's just jump into it. First thing first, Christianity at its core is pure fucking violence. It's rooted in nothing but violence. You can argue with that statement if you want to, but you're not going to argue it with me. You're just going to have to talk to White Jesus about that. There's plenty of history books that can be able to tell you how this shit is so violent in the story, right? It has been weaponized to not only help with white colonialism, but also uphold white supremacy. Now, before I continue, let me be clear. I'm not trying to debate your personal faith, right? What you believe in, especially if it's something that brings you peace, whether it's Christianity or not, or whatever religion that is great. Continue doing you. I'm not here to convert you to a different religion. That is not the point in this conversation. Okay. Because the point of this conversation and this particular point is just for us to examine, right? Not your spiritual practice, but the institution of this religion that we know as Christianity, right? Its origin, its global impact, and mainly how it's been used against not only black but also indigenous people across the world. Okay, because I want to make sure we are listening for the right thing, not taking this as just Carlton just taking a dig at Christianity. No, kind of, but no, that's not the main point. Okay, because what I want y'all to understand about Christianity is it, it wasn't that this religion just spread because the word was so good or some bullshit like that you think, right? This shit was basically militarized and people was deployed like they was in a fucking military, right? We had colonizers coming in with this Bible, right? This one true word that they're telling us, but also with weapons in the other hand. Make that make sense. A Bible that's supposed to teach about kindness and loving your neighbor, but you're bringing it also with weapons. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys heard of, but the doctrine of discovery, if you're not familiar with it, please take your time to look it up because also this is not really about a in detail history lesson. No, I just want to make some quick points so we can move on. But do look that up because basically it just literally gave Christian nations, white Christian nations, the right to steal land that wasn't ruled by other Christians. So we're talking from Africa to the Americas. This how entire cultures got forced into conversion. This wasn't about salvation. This wasn't about any goddamn thing Christianity as far as like what the Bible was saying. It was pure about in its true form and what it actually was is just straight domination. We're talking culture genocide. They just wrapped it up in like some savior language, like they came to save these people. Oh, we're here to help the savages by killing half their fucking population. How? What? What is what? I'm confused. Even when you think about the slave trade or the transatlantic slave trade, right? You had the European Christians that was just pretty much labeling us as savages and needed saving. And then they cherry picked these Bible verses like the what's the one slaves obey your earthly master to justify the horrors that they were doing upon these people. And yeah, some African groups were participating in that system too, because I do believe nuance does matter, right? It wasn't just Europeans that enacted slavery, but they did not enact slavery the same way, right? It was more of a service to, right? Not take these people, not only take everything that these people know, their culture, their heritage, their language, strip them of all of their identity, make sure they think they're nothing shit, trash, goddamn it. Make sure that they know white is superior. You see what I'm saying? Just ingraining all this fucked up ideology in their head, right? But even if you dismiss all that, my point at the end of the day still remains. Christianity is pretty much just used to pacify us into obedience. That that's how I see it. And somehow the same religion that dehumanizes us is still the most practiced in our community today. It's like we came so far as a people. We are or we have, but we still got a lot of ways to go. And I feel like the reason why our people haven't got that true liberation, or that, you know what I mean, that liberation that doesn't involve any whiteness, is because we still uphold those white systemic systems. And religion is a part of that. Like, we're talking this religion, and I'm speaking in the institution. That's why I'm making sure or should I say the church, right? Let me say the church, because the church is the people, which, I mean, I guess religion is too. But you know what I mean? The people that's teaching us this religion. These people have did a tremendous, not only mental trauma, physical trauma, but we're talking spiritual trauma as well. And we somehow kind of masquerade that into this tradition of being like mostly these Southern Baptists or whatever denomination you want to choose. Like, it's all just not authentic anymore. It's just not. It's not for us. But I know you may have some people that probably say, not all. I mean, all religions have violence and blah blah blah. And yeah, a lot of them do. Even though I don't see what they have to do with anything that I'm saying. If you want to put Muslim instead of Christianity, Islam or Buddhism, what? Sure, do that. But what I will say is just none of these have been used to colonialize the goal on the scale of Christianity, right? When you think of Islam, conquest, yes. Did they do slavery? Yes. But they often let other faiths exist under protected status, which a lot of people don't talk about, right? They wasn't just exiling whole communities in their identity, not at the same level as Christianity. You got Buddhism, which, they'll have, some little violent local violence and stuff like that, but no global takeover. Hinduism, yeah, they got their problems, but again, no global religious empire. Christianity, though, it took over continents. I'm not talking countries, we talking continents in the name of Jesus. Can we get a hallelujah for that? And the crazy part is, this is not even ancient history. You got today, we still got thousands of Catholic priests and accused of abuse that, gets constantly try to get swept under the rug. We got mega churches pulling in billions of tax-free dollars while doing the bare minimum for their neighborhood, and not even do true activism, right? You got southern pastors preaching racial hierarchy during Jim Crow. Church is telling us to tithe, pray, wait on God, or, you know what I mean, your time is coming, or whatever the hell it is that they be telling y'all. All while our communities still remain over policed, still remain underfunded, and we still got poison in our water. Yes, I'm talking about Shreveport. Why is the water brown? It makes no sense. So yeah, even if you find peace in the teachings, that is great. That is no issue. That is not my discourse here. We just have to ask what this system built for your actual freedom, right? What has it done for actual true liberation within your people? Or was it just built to control you? Was it just built to instill this fear that, oh, this is the only way through? So now you pretty much molded your mind to believe that. Because from where I'm standing, all we doing is just worshiping ourselves into more bondage, not liberation. So I just ask for you to kind of take that time to yourself to just check and make sure that, hey, this is, you believe in this because in your inner being, in your spirit, this is right, or this is for you. right? And not just inheriting some shit that was just taught to you, and you're just regurgitating that what was told to you, and finding yourself in this endless wheel with no way out. Because maybe we won't heal everyone in one generation or anything like that, but we can leave just a little bit something, a little something better for the next one. And taking this religion out of our culture would be that first step, in my humble opinion. We got to start thinking more about us, the humans, the people that you see in your fucking face every day, than this idea of a person that you're not even sure is real, that you probably questioned at least three, four, five, six, 7 times in your lifetime. Or is that just me? Okay. Could be. Maybe I'm projecting. I don't know. But just think about that. Of all the years that our people have been celebrating this religion, been upholding this religion, like what has it truly done for us? And I'm speaking for as a people, right? I know people like to add in these isolated events like, oh, God save me from this or God save me from that. And I was like, you didn't save yourself? Like, why do you want to give all of your power to this mystical thing or this outside thing rather than to yourself? Which in actuality, Christianity always told you to look within, that God is within you. But even yourself is not giving yourself that credit. You're giving that credit away. Just something to think about. That's my soapbox on that. All right, sidebar, but not really a sidebar. Um, when we be just us two talking about religion and whatnot, you actually is the first person to make me realize like how religion is just like repeated story. Like this,
It really is.
like this stuff is not even original in any sense. Like it's just taking older religions and basically repackaging it
Mm-hmm.
into a new movement.
Mm-hmm. That's literally how it goes. So, how I look at religion is just a means to control people, which is why I'm particularly not religious. I don't want to be controlled. But going back to the point of how religion is all just tied in together, these myths, these the stories of God, the creation, the story of creations, the story of justice, all of these stories that you can find in the Bible have been regurgitated from other ancient stories such as the Sumerians, the Egyptians, Greeks, Hindu, Mesopotamian. All of them have the same type style of origin stories with the same dynamics happening. It'd be the same story, literally retold 1,000 times. So as I look at religion, it don't matter what door you take. Just as long as you are seeking improvement of self and seeking to be a good person, it doesn't matter what door you take. I feel like religion removes us so far from that point that now we're in ego and operating out of ego. Now you're like, oh, I don't like you because you're not gay. I don't like you because you don't believe in the God I believe in. When it was never about that. You were never meant to be a condemner. And that's why I don't like institutionalized churches, because they don't do anything but colonize and condemn completely from the point of what spirit and religion was supposed to be, which is a interpersonal journey with your creator. That's why I don't like pastors. They typically will lead you down the wrong way. Why the hell you listening to a pastor about your life decisions? Is you. He don't he's not you. You gonna listen to a human? You gonna get guidance from a human because he's supposedly divine by God? That doesn't even make sense. That does not make sense. And I'm tired of y'all trying to make this shit make sense.
No logic.
Like you say you don't let me get this straight. You don't follow man, but you'll go tithe at a church and give money to a man and follow the preachings of a man. You never once opened up that Bible for yourself because most of y'all are culturally ignorant and you don't even know your own text. You have not read. If you have read the Bible, you haven't read the Torah. If you have read the Torah, you haven't read the Quran. If you have read the Quran, you haven't read the Book of Mormon. Those are all books within your same religion with following the same God, and you are ignorant of them. That is
just a few of the thousand denominations.
just a few, just to highlight at least the main three. Like that's why I also don't like institutionalized church. It keeps you from asking questions. It keeps you from exploring your full religion. It keeps you in the darkness. And like my brother said, it keeps you oppressed because knowledge is power. It keeps you oppressed by keeping you fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So
And not to repeat myself, but as I mentioned, when you do that, like they're teaching you to look for this truth or somewhere outer being, damn near mystical creature that you can't touch, feel, or anything like that, versus kind of doing the inner work and kind of realizing who you are in your true being. So it's just, I don't know. I guess it depends on. I mean, it works for some people.
it does. But just to give you a couple of examples of stories that you can look at that mix throughout time that is derived from other stories like our for example, I'm gonna just go into the story of the Great Flood. You can find that at and forgive me, I do a lot of reading, not a lot of talking. So forgive my pronunciations. Art
Don't come for my
passes.
sister. We do fight.
We do.
And by we, she fighting and she fight, then I have to. But I ain't really the one to start it.
That part. But it's called the flood, the story about the Great Flood. You can find that in Arthur Hamsis' Myth of Mesopotamia. I know I missed it.
Give them the spelling so they can.
The spelling is Atrahassis. Like I said, I'm a reader, not a talker, so I sound things out how I think they are, and then later on I find out that's not at all how that I was supposed to say that. And then the dying and the reviving God. You can trace that story back to Sumeria, Sumeria, the tales of the Gilgamesh. You can trace a lot of these big stories back to other ancient religions because religion is typically a means to just control and create societies. The spirit, what you're reading of the gospels that you're singing, that spirit, that's God. That feeling that you get, that is God. That is the all creation. Which another thing, I don't understand why y'all be making God a man. If this being is all knowing, all seeing, all thinking, it is beyond our conception. That's why we have so many different religions because people be getting images or they be receiving spirit in different forms, in different ways. Once we realize we can break this door down between thinking we're so different from everybody else, maybe we can come together as a people and our movements will be more powerful. Because a lot of times in the black community specifically, because we're here talking about the black community, our movements did not progress because we were too divided left and right. And I am talking conservatives and liberals. We were too divided in our minds. Like we spent more time fighting each other than we did the common enemy. Break down that divide so we can do great things together. Because you only following some indoctrination bullshit that at the end of the day don't fucking matter.
I do, and I like what you said about that gospel part, like that, because it just makes me think about how whenever you go to church, they always start with praise and worship, and I feel like that's how they got me. Because when it comes to praise and worship, I feel like when it comes to music, that is spiritual, right? It's very, like you don't have to even listen to gospel music to be moved by music. Like your favorite artist probably move you, inspire you, make you like have the power to invoke feeling. That's why you even have like some songs that led revolutions. You know what I mean? Um, so I feel like them starting with that music to get you in that feeling, just to be preached to and manipulate in what that feeling actually is, making you think, oh, it's because of this white man, basically, because that's who they claim Jesus is the reason why you feeling this, and not necessarily the spirit that's within you, like your own intuition, your own inner self that's coming out, and you feeding that, worshiping that. But that's my little soapbox. on that.
Honestly, truly, that was all I really had to say about that point.
So my second point that I want to bring up um, on why I think Christianity is a hindrance to true Black liberation is I strongly believe that Christianity actually discouraged revolutionary thinking to get us that Black liberation that we need as an entirety within our community. And then, so, okay, so Carlton, why do you feel that way? So, Christianity, as it taught in most churches, doesn't just ask you to love your neighbor, right? A lot of times they ask you to be quiet, to suffer in silence, and to just wait on justice that never really seems to come, right? And I don't know about y'all, but that does not sound like empowerment. Am I tripping? I don't know. Let me know if I'm tripping because that doesn't sound like empowerment to me. That just sounds like programming. And for this to be the center religion of our community, yeah, this is probably why we're being held back. this, this ain't working for us. The teachings most often pushed in Christian churches, especially in the Black church, actively discourage revolutionary thinking, not just politically, but mentally and spiritually. Let's just go to the Bible verse where I think damn near every Black person probably heard or been taught at some point, and that's Matthew 5:39, where it says, "If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other," or something like that. And it's like when you listen to that quote, it's just at what the hell? Like, what are we talking about right now? What person you know is just gonna sit up here and let somebody beat the shit out of them? Why is that the message? And why is that a strong message within Black churches when you have shit like police brutality going on? You want us to turn the other cheek? All this economic inequality, you just want us to, oh yeah, keep slapping us. It's fine. What? These broken ass school systems that pretty much affect the Black community more than any other community. Let's just turn the other cheek. Because you see, that messaging, it doesn't empower people to resist. It's conditioning people to endure, to just wait. You know what I mean? Stay silent while we getting our ass meted on, foot at the neck. But turn the other cheek if you think that's what's going to work. Look at history and tell me if that's been working for us. Because all this sounds like it's just a blueprint for us to be some passive ass people and letting these mm, keep running all over us. It's crazy. And I feel like it's just created this weird, like, ideology that suffering is somehow noble for Black folks. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you suffer on this life, right? But one day, maybe in heaven, you'll get your reward. So I'm just supposed to be picking myself up by the bootstraps. When I die, I get all the riches and eternal life in this pure bliss. That's what we're being told. That ain't theology. That's goddamn manipulation. Like, are y'all hearing what these people tell y'all? It's not even good manipulation at this point. Because why is it that so many of our churches encourage acceptance of oppression? Is never teaching you how to rebel. That is strange to me. Because it just have this weird thing where it's just constantly teaching you obedience over actual liberation, right? And it's like, okay, obey your elders, even though your elders, well, some of them, not all of them, is probably the result of your current trauma. They want you to obey your pastors, even though your pastor is probably doing some abusive shit or greed going on within your own church, within your neighborhood. They want you to obey the law, even though law's written to oppress you. Obey the government, even though we know that the government don't give a damn about us. Eh, woe is me right now, just thinking about this. Because let me hit you with another scripture that y'all probably know and love. When you look at Romans 13:1, another one they love to say, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers." Let every soul be subject unto the higher power. That what the they just want you to submit. No critical thinking, no question asking, just submit unto this higher power, right? And let's think about America. What is that higher power? At the end of the day, we live in a capitalistic world, so power is money, money is power. We all know that. And how people would lose their integrity over money, aka submit their soul, which is why you get the saying, selling your soul. Y'all think this is some shit where you selling your soul to an actual devil, and the devil is the money itself. You're trying to get this higher status, this closeness to whiteness at the detriment of your own community. That's what I hear when I that's what I read when I hear that scripture. I don't know what y'all read. And then it's like when you got an entire people, right, just taught to obey, not to question shit, not to organize, not to revolt. You pretty much just got people who can be controlled. And don't get me wrong, they use this for a lot of people outside of black people. But at the end of the day, I am black and I want my people to be set free from this because this is crazy. Like this, it's just it's too many years has gone by. It's like it's too much evidence in your face to show you that this is not working. It's like we love to use these like isolated success stories and make these things seem like they're obtainable. But if it's not obtainable for the masses, why are we okay with that system? But I'm not gonna get too sidetracked on that. So let's really back. Um, so when you just kind of look at every freedom movement, like the civil rights movement, the Black Panthers, even the Haitian Revolution, right? When you look at what they have in common, it's resistance, it's disruption. They had to literally fight. But what do people don't really look at, like, where were the churches when those fights were happening, right? And again, I'm looking at it as an institution, not isolated. Not this one church. We're talking the masses here, right? The collective. When I speak, and when you really look at it, though there were churches that was helping out, right? You even had Martin Luther King, the one of the lead representatives of the civil rights movement, who was a pastor who had a church, right? But it wasn't as many as you think. Not enough. It was not. You got most of these bootlickers up here trying to preach patience, up here trying to teach peace, preaching wait on the Lord, or some dumb shit like that. Meanwhile, you have real freedom fighters that was out there being jailed, exiled, or killed. You like niggas putting their life on the line, and then you have these other set of black people that's in the church praying for their enemies, praying for grace, whatever the hell it is that y'all be doing. I don't know. So when I say Christianity discourages revolution thinking, I just mean this. It just teaches you how to survive in a broken system, not how to dismantle it. It just makes you comfortable living in mental change. I'm sorry, mental chains. And so it's like, it's just when I think of black liberation for Solani people, you know what I mean? Like the ones who want real liberation, real freedom, a life without fear of these others coming in trying to take or destroy or discourage you mentally. We just have to ask, like, is the message we're receiving about salvation, or is the message about submission? That's what I want you to think about when you sit here and listen to your pastor. Because don't get me wrong, it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. Just don't be the sheep. Don't be the sheep. That's all I'm asking. So my third point, which is honestly kind of the most sinister of them all, is how modern churches, especially black churches, they promote individuals' prosperity over collective power. Right. So when we talk about the modern black church, right? And like keep in mind, like not the idea of it. You know what I mean? Not the nostalgia stuff, because we do know it's a bunch of black people that actually leaving the church. That's a real thing, right? So I want us to talk about the actual church that we see every day in our community and the way it functions today. Because if you really look at it, none of it has to do with black liberation. Not one bit. It's always about the money, about the funding. Because have you noticed, like, how many of these damn sermons just sound like a TED talk for broke people? Like, am I the only one that feels that way? Like, it's just all about, like, oh, your blessings coming, you getting your blessings, or you stepping into your season, reaping what you sow. Like, just this hyper individualism, just dressed up in this damn scripture. And that's my grievances with the Bible. It's like they can always dress that shit up to invoke emotions in people without actually giving them real guidance or real advice on the way to move forward. Because it's like you just got these pastors driving these luxury cars while your members out here catching a ride or getting the bus to get to church. You got these churches with $1 million sound systems, but no scholarship fund, no no grocery fund to help out the community, no mental health services, no mutual aid networks, like no black owned credit unions funded by the church. Like, what are we talking about? All they want you to do is tithe, and oh boy, oh we love asking for a good tithe, because black people actually give more to church than almost any other group. I read this article from uh, Greater Public in 2013. That's when they published it. And it basically said that black households give 25% more of their income annually than white households. Okay. Yeah, the white people that taught us this religion, they don't even give as much to the church as we do. 2/3 of those black households donate to causes, right? We talking nonprofit, any giving back to the community. 2/3 of black households, right? And that totals about $11 billion each year. And the kicker is nearly half of those households earn less than 50K. And in today's economy, 50K is not a lot. It's not a lot. So I want y'all to like let that sink in. We're somehow the most generous group in this country while also being the race or the community that's also some of the most economically vulnerable in this country. So let's talk business, right? Let's put this in business terms. What the hell is our return on investment? Where is this goddamn freedom, this liberation that we was promised? Where's the village? Like, point me to it. Then you got pastors out here, like Marvin Sapp, out here literally holding his congregation hostage until they meet a tithe quota. Hmm? What the hell, Leonte? Talking about like don't nobody leave this situation until we hit. I don't know what's the number. Was it 8,000 something like that? And I'm like, bro, read the goddamn room at this point. Niggas are broke. Like, what are we doing? It's giving extortion at this point. Like, what's going on? And then here's the kicker, right? When the church does talk about liberation, it's always spiritual. Keep in mind, it's always spiritual, never systemic, never where it needs to be talked about. Never no true organizing, no next steps. It's just always like, oh, your breakthrough is coming. Or like, let's take control of our schools and blase blase. No real organizing though. And that's how the system wants it. It wants you to be pacified, not politicized. That's why I always look at these goddamn pastors who out here refuse to take political stances as if being political is optional at this point. It's not. Motherfucker, everything you do is political. You not taking a stand or picking a side is political. Whether you want to admit that to yourself or not, that's your personal business. That's just what it is. Is just what like I thought these supposed to be the leaders within the community. How you the spiritual leader but don't want to lead into no type of change for the actual community that you're supposed to be leading? That makes no sense. Why is nonprofit organizations doing more for communities than the actual church? Makes no sense. I thought that was the whole point of y'all being tax exempt is because y'all helping the community. But are y'all? It sounds like y'all being tax exempt to help control the community with this false ass narrative and this oppressive ass teaching. Because they love to teach you that, oh, you gotta wait to die to get your heaven, to get floated up above, while ignoring everything that's going on in this world that's making it hell on earth. But keep tithing though. So basically, at this point, church is just yet another tool for capitalism. Like that's just what that is. Sorry to burst your bubble. Like I just want us to just accept reality, right? Because don't forget, we're talking about liberation here, and I don't know. as like a entrepreneur myself, right? Whenever you go and like get these courses and stuff like that, and to help you figure out how to make more money or how to build your business, blase blase. Majority of the time, they always start with your mindset. And I think that's why we're choosing to address the Christianity part before we can get into other matters, is because like it, this is where it's coming from within. This is where you just asking questions in your inner self, right? Before you can actually make that and turn that into actual physical change. Because we got to get back to the community. And I'm telling you, this religion shit is holding us back. Like the black church or church in general is just selling a false hope. One tithe at a time. Cause you gonna pay them. Best believe. Got to run the coins. But it's like in the Bible, like when you read, like they teaching us how Jesus fed the people, but shit, when I look at it, it's like, okay, now we make these churches in his name just for the church to feed off the people. When did that flip? What the hell are you on? I'm keep saying that because I'm truly confused why we chose Christianity to, or why we kept it still today. I'm trying to figure that out because it's not it. All right, y'all. So I know that might have been a lot to chew on. So shout out to everybody that's still locked in with me. Appreciate you guys for actually listening to the whole episode. We covered a lot today, from the violent roots of Christianity, expansion to the passive mindset that often get taught in the church. But I do feel the urge to kind of set the record straight and just to make sure I'm clear. So, again, I am not here to shame your personal belief. Okay. Whatever you personally believe in, your faith is yours. This is not about that. Okay. I'm just here just to hold up a mirror to this institution, this religious structure we've been conditioned to follow without question. Okay. But I don't know. It's just when I think about that, and when we ask ourselves if we're being serious about true liberation, we got to be serious about what's holding us back. And I just personally believe that religion is one of those things. So this is part one of my two-part series for this conversation. So in part two, I'll wrap up with my final point, and then we can get into some real tangible solutions. Just what it could look like to move forward as a people, like talking from healing to organizing, reconnecting, all of it, right? But before I dip up on up out of here, I do want to hear from you guys. So, what came up while you were listening? Did something piss you off? Did something hit home for you? You know what I mean? Did it challenge the way you thought about Christianity and your relationship to Christianity? Or maybe you just got something to add, or maybe you already have a solution on moving forward without the church. So, either way, would love to hear it from you. And you can be able to leave a voicemail or shoot us a text at 318-588-7115. Or you can email us at notasafespacepod@gmail.com. And I'll make sure I'll put those communications in the descriptions as well. So just say it with your chest, and I just might feature it in a future episode. Because I do want to be clear on my vision for this podcast, and it's this is just the first step, having these conversations. But I definitely want this to move beyond just talking, and for us to actually start building something together, right? And like I said from the jump, I don't have all the answers. It's actually a lot of things I do not know and I do not understand. But at the end of the day, this got to be a community conversation. Okay. So remember, your voice matters just like I've realized that my voice matters. Okay. And it's our collective voice that's really going to bring about change, that's going to get us to that true liberation. So if you haven't already, subscribe, rate the show, follow us on socials, tell your cousins, aunties, tell the YNs, tell the homegirl down the street, let them know. Hey, even tell your pastor about it. I would love to get his perspective on my perspective of the church relationship to the black community. Tell anybody, everybody. Let them know we're out here having real conversations, even when they get uncomfortable. So, with that being said, I'll catch y'all in part two. Peace.